the red. Let's bring it up. Let's go report to Pablo Vinales now. Hi, Pablo. So how's it ever trying to frame?
He's Asia first.
20 years old in the suburbs. It's a clear picture of what happened.
Very warm welcome to Amishakil 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Following are the latest news headlines which have been reported by American, European, Canadian, Asian, African and Australian news channels and all other news agencies. So please, let's go to the news.
Tonight, the breaking news as we come on, the emergency playing out right now in parts of the east and the mid-Atlantic. A flash flood emergency unfolding as we come on the air. Cars floating away outside an elementary school. The children inside the school had to be rescued. Evacuations underway at this hour. Millions of Americans on alert right now as this storm moves up the east coast into the northeast tonight. Ginger Z standing by with the forecast. Inside the hearing tonight, Lyle and Eric Menendez, after more than 35 years behind bars, the brothers making their case to be re-sentenced. Also breaking tonight, the star witness taking the stand at the Sean Combs trial, his ex-girlfriend breaking down while testifying. She says Combs hiring others in what the girlfriend alleges she was expected to do. Aaron Katursky was in the courtroom. Overseas tonight, President Trump getting the royal treatment in Saudi Arabia. Fighter jets escorting Air Force One, the Crown Prince rolling out the lavender carpet. The president praising Saudi investments in the U.S. A big questions tonight about the Trump family working right now on business interests of their own in the same countries the president is now visiting.
Trump Tower, Jeddah.
And President Trump saying today, "Oh, what I do for the Crown Prince." Mary Bruce traveling with the president. Tonight, Kim Kardashian's chilling testimony describing the night she was bound, gagged, and robbed at gunpoint by masked men. The images coming in here, firefighters still on the scene right now, the major fire burning, forcing evacuations, and the new concern now as we come on tonight. This evening, the late Pete Rose reinstated. Major League Baseball's historic decision now, and what this now means. And tonight, Robin Roberts is here. You'll meet her siblings, what they've now done to honor their mother, what she always said about the children. It might leave you singing too. From ABC News World Headquarters in New York.
Should we be concerned?
Tonight, should we be concerned? A new study finds people who are narcissistic, psychopathic, or Machiavellian are often seen as more attractive and trustworthy due to their ability to manipulate people's perception. Is it just, Sharad, is it just easier to be a psychopath if you're attractive?
Yeah, you can get away with it longer, like Ted Bundy, you know?
Yeah.
He was in jail, got married in jail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the girls were sending panties to him like he's Usher. And plus, they don't, you know, they didn't lock him up. He escaped, ran around the country. Everybody was a good-looking dude. They was like, he can't be the guy.
Yes, he's
so possible.
Yes, it's like Luigi Mangione.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like they have video of him shooting this guy, and women are still saying, "Oh, he's too good looking."
The gun really shot him, not Luigi.
Yes, exactly.
And the Boston Marathon kid was on the front.
Yes, he was on the cover of Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Good memory, Sharad.
Thank you. But if you're good looking, you can get away with it long, I think.
Yeah, which must upset you, Brian.
No, well, it's true. No one takes me as a murderer.
Yeah.
This is a study I'm glad to fail. But I feel bad for people that are not self-obsessed and are not Machiavellian, because they do it without, I think the key of this whole thing is to do it without conscience. Everyone feels that they could do this, but if you are narcissistic, you think you're the best, Machiavellian, you'll do anything to be successful, and if you have, that comes out into charm. What we need is women to collectively agree not to fall for it. And this will open it up to normal people, and this way you can actually survive a relationship. You don't have to risk being murdered by that charming, good-looking guy next to you.
Yes.
You had me at we need women. I didn't even hear the rest of it.
You know, they do link attractiveness to trustworthiness. Is that why nobody trusts you?
Well, sorry. Don't you have to ask Emily something?
I had an extra insult on my paper that I wanted to use.
Let's get it off your chest.
Emily, have you ever fallen for psychopaths?
No.
Have you had bad relationships with crazy men?
No.
Or are you just too attractive?
No.
Or she's a psycho.
No.
Are you the psychopath? It does say ladies are better at hiding their insanity.
Well, shouldn't you ask the guys about that?
Well, you are bad crazy.
No, I'm not. No, do not start that rumor, everybody. I am not
Crazy. Our girl's crazy now.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, everybody. I'm totally normal. I see you.
Yes, you are. Oh, yeah, you are so normal. If you were any normaler, I wouldn't even come over.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
I'm John Dickerson.
The chief business of the American president is business.
At least it was today for President Trump on the first stop of the first major foreign trip of his second term.
On his visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the distinctly Trump brand of diplomacy was on display. Less statesman than businessman in search of big money deals for the United States.
Weijia Zhang is traveling with the president. Weijia?
Well, good evening. The day was filled with pomp and circumstance to highlight all that cash that Saudi Arabia claims it is pouring into the U.S. But it's what President Trump did not talk about. All the issues that is not only a departure from American policy in Saudi Arabia, it is unprecedented. Even before President Trump touched down in Saudi Arabia, F-15 fighter jets welcomed him to the kingdom, setting up an extravagant visit, showcasing Arabian horses, rolling out lush lavender carpets, trees. Then hosted an investment summit that included the CEOs of several American companies, video and
Tonight, the bombshell court testimony is Sean Combs' former girlfriend accuses him of abusive and explicit acts. Cassie Ventura, star witness in the case against the music mogul, accused Diddy of years of sexual and physical abuse in graphic detail, including a now infamous assault at a hotel. She laid out in graphic detail being forced to participate in, quote, freak-off parties, one she said lasted 4 days. Diddy pleading not guilty to all 5 counts. President Trump on the world stage in Saudi Arabia, meeting with controversial ally, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. His trip overshadowed by questions over his plans to accept a 747 from the Qatari royal family, all as the president announces billions in development deals. The Menendez brothers appearing via video in court in their odyssey to be freed from prison. The flooding emergency in western Maryland, a school evacuated. Kim Kardashian speaking out in court, saying she thought she was going to die when robbers stole $10 million in jewels from her. And hoop dreams, the WNBA coach making history, her inspiring mission after going from a walk-on to the big boss.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester.
On this Tuesday night, the Prime Minister's new inner circle. The fresh faces and the familiar ones on the front bench.
For me, it's perfect.
We'll dissect the decisions and tell you who got shuffled out. Unplugged, why Honda Canada is putting its $15 billion electric vehicle project on hold, and the uncertainty hovering over the country's auto industry. Deepening desperation for Gaza's 2 million Palestinians. The danger as Israel issues a new warning to Hamas. Plus, just call him Iron Man.
Amazing feat, so good, and especially for a guy that's only 89 years old.
One Manitoba golfer's unforgettable triumphs in a single round.
Global National with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Ito Garcha.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. Prime Minister Mark Carney unveiled his new post-election front bench today. It's a smaller team with a mix of fresh and veteran names and a mix of women and men. Carney says it will be more focused than previous governments. There are key themes emerging with this cabinet and a newly created secondary group, fighting what the Prime Minister says are unfair U.S. tariffs and creating, quote, the strongest economy in the G7. Carney's inner circle features 28 cabinet ministers, supported by 10 secretaries of state. Many are first-time MPs. The PM says they will be strong and reliable partners coordinating with provinces, territories, and Indigenous peoples across Canada. Our Mackenzie Gray tells us who made the cut.
Democracy depends on a free press. Please support our independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Israel's continuing its assault on the Gaza Strip, with at least 46 Palestinians killed and 73 wounded over the past 24 hours. Among the dead, at least 2 people killed when Israel bombed the Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Yunis. The strike killed photojournalist Hassan Islaya while he was receiving treatment for injuries he sustained in an airstrike last month. He's at least the 215th media worker killed in Gaza since October 2023. It's not the first time Israel's bombed Nasser Hospital. Israeli forces previously struck its emergency building, attacked tents for displaced people outside its gates, laid siege to the complex for over a week, and arrested scores of patients and medical staff. Since October 2023, Israeli forces have bombed or set fire to at least 35 hospitals across the Gaza Strip, each act a war crime. Many human rights groups and advocates charge under the 1949 Geneva Convention. On Monday, UN...
Good evening, I'm Anna Navaz.
And I'm Jeff Bennett. On the News Hour tonight, President Trump kicks off a 4-day trip to the Middle East, prioritizing business deals on the first official trip of his second term.
Despite reductions on some tariffs, trouble continues in the bond market, what it means for your investments and the broader U.S. economy.
And we examine the potential impact of one state's effort to cut back diversity initiatives on college campuses.
Is saying that I don't count, I'm not qualified, I don't have merit, and all of that is not true.
It's 11 a.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 8:30 in New Delhi, and 10 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Paul Sir. At this hour, Saudi Arabia promises billions of dollars in U.S. deals from defense to AI. First stop of Donald Trump's 4-day Gulf tour, and a major policy shift. The U.S. pledges to lift all sanctions against Syria. Ukraine's president pushing to find a settlement to end the more than 3-year-long war. He urges his U.S. counterpart to help secure a meeting with Vladimir Putin in Turkey on Thursday. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese begins a state visit to Indonesia on his first overseas trip since re-election. Both sides are expected to deepen defense ties following a landmark security deal signed last year.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock. On today's show, in his first major interview since his election as Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney tells Sky News Canadians are not impressed by the UK's decision to roll out the red carpet for Donald Trump. The US President has signed a flurry of deals with Saudi Arabia worth more than £450 billion. This morning, his Middle East tour moves on to Qatar. It does indeed. It's Wednesday, the 14th of May coming up. Canada's new Prime Minister says the UK's offer of a second state visit to Donald Trump cuts across Ottawa's efforts to defend their sovereignty.
I'll be frank, they weren't impressed by that gesture. Quite simply, given the circumstance.
Also ahead, Israel kills at least 16 people in a strike on a hospital in Gaza. We hear from 2 terminally ill adults on opposing sides of the assisting dying debate.
This is an absolute decision about myself.
I was given 6 months to live. Last year, I should be dead.
A chance for freedom for the Menendez brothers after 35 years in jail for killing their parents in a crime that captivated America. And Sunderland booked their place at Wembley for the Championship playoff final against Sheffield United. Good morning, everyone. Well, we start with a big exclusive today. In his first major interview since his election as Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney has told Sky News that Canadians were not the 24 correspondents around the world.
Hello and a very warm welcome if you're just joining us. You're watching Daybreak here on France 24. These are the headlines this hour. Bowing to the Saudi Crown Prince's request, Donald Trump lifts sanctions on Syria as the duo sign billions of dollars worth in defense and investment deals. Another 28 people killed by Israeli bombs in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu saying nothing will stop his operation and that things will only intensify in the coming days. The potential of parole for the Menendez brothers who murdered their parents in the 1980s. A judge in the US ruling that they're eligible, citing their rehabilitation as his reasoning. Good to have you with us. Well, also coming up in this hour of the programme, Emily Boyle will be joining us for the press review. Among other stories, she's picked up on our reactions to the 3-hour interview the French president gave to television yesterday. A lengthy chat that many typed didn't present any real record for his time in office or present plans for his remaining days as president.
On ABC.
Cyclist Rowan Dennis and a suspended sentence over the death of his wife, Olympian Melissa Hoskins. The US president to lift sanctions on Syria in a major policy shift as Donald Trump kicks off a tour of the Middle East. An Australian labourer feared dead in Ukraine after heavy fighting in the country's east. And a judge re-sentences the Menendez brothers, making them eligible for parole over their parents' murders in 1989. Hello, welcome to ABC News. I'm Lorna Dunkley. Former professional cyclist Rowan Dennis has been given a suspended sentence for the crash which caused the death of his elite athlete wife, Melissa Hoskins. Miss Hoskins, a former professional cyclist and an Olympian, died when she was struck by a car driven by Dennis outside their home in December 2023. Eva Blandis reports.
The judge said there was good reason.
Africa News. The news. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has pleaded with member countries to pay their shares to have the world body's peacekeeping operational. The United Nations has been scrambling to respond to funding cuts for aid operations from its biggest donors, the United States, under President Donald Trump's administration.
Dear Minister, peace operations can only succeed when backed by robust mandates and clear, predictable and sustained contributions, both financial and logistical. But these are tough times for the financing of our work across the board. Peacekeeping is no exception. It is crucial that we are able to use the increasingly limited resources we have and use them well. And this
Ukraine's president said Tuesday he will travel to Turkey this week and wait to have face-to-face talks with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. There is no indication yet if Putin will be in the Turkish capital. We spoke with President Erdogan and I will have a meeting with him in the capital of Turkey, at Ankara. It will take place on Thursday, May the 15th. We will be working for a meeting with Putin in Turkey so that Russia does not manipulate the cities and said that Putin is not ready to fly to Ankara, but only willing to fly to Istanbul. I want to state right away that if Putin flies to Istanbul instead of the capital, I have already sent a signal to the president that the Turkish side is ready, that President Erdogan and I will fly to Istanbul. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov again refused to tell reporters whether Putin will travel to Turkey. Moscow and Kiev are under pressure from the US to negotiate an end to the war. The Russian side continues to prepare for the talks that will take place on Thursday. That is, in essence, all. For now, we don't plan to comment further.
Вот, собственно, все, можно сказать, пока больше ничего мы комментировать не собираемся.
Ukraine's Sumy region, a drone targeted a utility vehicle, killing one person, regional authorities said Monday.
The 78th Cannes Film Festival got underway Tuesday, kicking off 2 weeks of French Riviera frenzy. The festival has, over the years, drawn studios, producers, and sales agents all on the hunt for acquisitions. A total of 22 films will vie for the top prize, the Palme d'Or, and they included Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme, Richard Linklater's Nouvelle Vague, Lynn Ramsay's Die, among others. Among African films getting the mega recognition for the first time include a Nigerian movie by the name My Father's Shadow, directed by Akinola Davis Jr., based in the United Kingdom. In the emerging film section, Ethiopia's short film, A Doll Made Up of Clay by Kokob Gebreweria Tesfaye, will be featured, showcasing new entries into the industry. Egyptian director Murad Mustafa will also present his debut feature film, Aisha Can't Fly Away, in the Uncertain Regard section. The festival began with the screening of a 3-film tribute to Ukraine and the opening night film Amélie Bonin's French romance Live One Day.
Cristiano Ronaldo Jr., son of Portugal's all-time great and 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, Cristiano Ronaldo, has been named in Portugal's under-15 squad for the upcoming Zlatko Markovic International Tournaments. The 14-year-old, known as Cristianino, was born in San Diego, California, and is eligible to represent both the United States and Portugal. He began training at a young age and is currently part of the Al Nassr Youth Academy in Saudi Arabia. Cristiano Jr. is among 22 players selected by coach João Santos for the tournament, which takes place in Croatia from May 13th to 18th. Portugal will play Japan on May 13th, Greece on the 14th, and England on the 16th. The final match is scheduled for May 18th, with the opponent yet to be confirmed.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amir Shekel 5858. I am Amir Shekel. Have a good life. Bye-bye.